He won us a trophy, got us on the top four, won us 2 trophies. So they nailed it. And so not to see that through is a mistake.
I want to go into the back end of this season with every single one of those players available and fit. Because let me tell you now, that will be a very different looking Chelsea side if every player is fit and Liam has got to choose from all of those.
I hope he does really well for various reasons, but I feel like he's kind of cosplaying what he thinks a top-level manager should be.
He needs to know the fans are in his corner and we're shouting, screaming, biting, kicking for him.
We went and brought in a Mark Gehi, we went and brought in a Nosson. All of a sudden, this looks so different.
Centre forward and centre half of quality and experience. Those players will demand huge fees and huge salaries. And that's not quite who we are at the moment.
I know Arsenal are a better team than us, but I think we've got a great chance of making it to a cup final, and who knows what happens.
Under the lights, Liam Rosenior's first home game, there's a lot to like about it. Who changes manager halfway through the season, wins the Champions League? Whoever does that. Whoever does that. What crazy team does that?
Hello and welcome to Inside Chelsea, the show for Chelsea fans by Chelsea fans. I'm Olivia Buzaglo and I'm joined by former Chelsea defender Jason Cundy and broadcaster and lifelong Chelsea fan Kweku Afari. Right, I mean, since me and Kweku have been here, we lost a manager, we've hired a new manager, and that manager has won his first game in charge, the first Chelsea manager to win his first competitive game in 10 years, by the way.
I had to check that. That didn't make sense to me.
10 years?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's been so much managerial movement that whenever a manager's come in, there's been so much distress at the club, you know. And I remember the one that stands out for me is Tuchel, Wolves at home, 0-0.
I'll never forget that game.
Yeah, that game stands in my... It really sticks in my mind as well. But I couldn't have told you about Potter's.
No.
Couldn't have told you.
Lampard's was the 4-0.
Yeah.
But we didn't actually play badly in that game, did we?
No, I seem to remember we'd done all right. But, and Potter, I can't remember Potter. But look, nonetheless, we find ourselves where we are. It was a nice game for him to come in. A potential banana skin, by the way, bearing in mind what we saw previous day and the Friday night, you know, and subsequently Brighton knocking... I mean, not that it's a massive shot, but it's about navigating your way through, get through to the next round, and he had a good look at some of the players that will probably be on the fringe of that first-team squad.
Yeah, I think it's quite like a masterstroke as well in terms of... He spoke ahead of the game against Fulham, and I think people were asking questions about why is he not managing this game. But that was a banana skin, right? And it's good to ease him in the game against Charlton. He expects us to win. He can run the rotation as well. And I like what I saw. It's hard to read into it, though. It's an FA Cup game. But winning is important, getting off to that start. You say the first time it was Conte against West Ham, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was the last time, 2016.
Which is a lifetime ago. Think about how much turmoil and ups and downs has happened at our football club. And so, a great start for a manager that we all hope does well, but we can't deny that the last couple of weeks as a Chelsea fan has just been an absolute whirlwind.
I mean, it's perfect chaos at this football club, isn't it? It always is never a dull day supporting Chelsea. Kweku, I just want to get your thoughts, because obviously, Jace, you were on the show, the last show we did, or that we didn't do. What were your thoughts when Maresca went and Liam came in, and just your whole thoughts on the situation?
The writing was on the wall for Maresca
after
Everton, when he made those comments and he didn't put a name on it. And he was asked was it about the fans? And he said, no, I love the fans. So obviously we deduced who it was about. And no matter what opinions you have on it, when you criticise your bosses, if we were to do the same thing, sit here and criticise our bosses, we are going to...
Get sacked.
Yeah. Like that's going to happen. So we shouldn't be surprised that happened. I think we're right as Chelsea fans to point and ask questions of the board, though, because in terms of credentialed people who could do their jobs and who know how to do their jobs, Maresca might have been the only one in the building. I don't know what Will Stanley's credentials are. I don't know what Stuart's credentials are. Iqbali's not showing me that he's a great football owner. And so I was disappointed, but it doesn't surprise me. We're a football club that have gone through so many different changes. And even when things are going really well, we've seen changes being rung out. So I was disappointed, but not surprised. And that's my overall feeling. But let's wait and see. Let's see what Rosenior can do. And let's see if this is the right decision from a board that I don't have too much trust in at the moment.
There is something exciting and also concerning at the same time. And we've had a lot of this, right, over the last 20 plus years, whatever you want to go. There is something really exciting about what a new look Chelsea might look like. There's also concerns because Rosenior's CV is not of the quality and the certainly the background and trophy win that we've had in the past. However, I kind of like how the way that he's Certainly interviews. I thought his presser was good. He seems very open. Yeah. I like the way he come on the pitch afterwards. So we're picking up little bits at the moment, aren't we? But I'm excited, but at the same time, been here many times before.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, like we say, when I saw the lineup, I won't tell everyone what I put in our group chat, shall I? No, I won't do that. I was a little bit worried because I just thought after the Fulham game, I felt like we should have gone. I just was maybe expecting us to go strong. Obviously, the players that had little knocks or whatever, maybe not. Palmer an exception, Reece probably as well. But I expect him to go stronger. He didn't. He almost went with what looked like a B team. Were you impressed with how they got the job done? Because I know obviously we had some strong players coming off the bench.
Yeah.
But I was really pleasantly surprised by the performance, especially after we conceded.
Yeah. So Liam's coming in, and his first game's FA Cup, second game's Carabao Cup, third game is going to be Premier League, and then we've got Champions League.
Yeah, fourth game Champions League.
I think this first month that he has got, I think it's 8 or 9 games that he's got up until the end of January. It's almost like pivotal to where our season possibly could go. Yeah. And I think when you look at all the fixtures that are coming up, this is the one you go, right, I have to do this. And if there are niggles with Reece and Cole and whatever it might be, I get that. And I felt that the team selection was always going to be something like this. Cucurella wasn't available. Casado can't play against Arsenal. Yeah. So I think those 2 positions were filled. He's gone with the goalkeeper change. I kind of get that as well. And he went with Liam Delap up top. I thought the team was quite well balanced. Yeah. And it's Charlton. I don't disrespect to them, Liv, and the bench was unbelievably strong. And as it turned out, we had too much for them.
Yeah, I agree. If you look at the fixtures, and I didn't really clock that, but we play in 4 different competitions in 4 games, which is a gauntlet for a new manager that's not managed at this level. But if you're to rank them in terms of priority, the Premier League is probably lowest on that list right now, for me anyway.
Really?
Yeah, I want to win a domestic trophy. I think the Carabao Cup, I know Arsenal are a better team than us, but I think we've got a great chance of making it to a cup final, and who knows what happens. We can't go out the FA Cup early again. Yeah. And the Champions League is the Champions League. The league, right now, with Liam Rosenior coming in as our manager, are we favourites to finish in the top 4?
But would you take it, though? Like, you're saying you'd rather win a trophy, so would you take winning the Carabao Cup and finishing 6th? Because I wouldn't.
I would.
Oh,
I would. The fans were more on board with Maresca than they are with Rosenior. I think the perception of Rosenior from certain Chelsea fans is that he's a yes man. And he's a blue coat man, and he's been selected because he's been in the system and he'll do exactly what they want. If he puts a trophy on the table within his first 4 months or first month of being in the football club, it would be absolutely incredible, and it would give us something to hold on to. It's been a long time since we won a Carabao Cup or an FA Cup. Yeah. I think that competition is important. The FA Cup's of course important, and so is the Champions League. The league right now, I look at it, are we better than Arsenal or Man City? Definitely not. Are we better than Liverpool? Probably not. Are we better than Villa? Probably not. So, unless it goes down to 5 teams, Which it might. I think focus on the cup competitions and going well in that, and just establishing how you want to play football. If you finish in the top 4, brilliant. But the league for me right now seems like a bit of a write-off.
I just feel like, well, where do you stand on that, Jace? Because I struggle to see how I think we have to finish in the Champions League spots. Otherwise, we've gone backwards.
For me, a priority right now is finishing top 4.
Really?
That finishes right here, right now. And for Liam Rosenior to come in, he could win FA Cup, League Cup, and finish 11th, right? Let's say that. That to me is you can get lucky in cups. What I want to see is him Saturday to Sunday, showing what he can do in the league. That's what we're going to do. Most managers, in fact, if not all of them, they're judged on what you do in the league. What you can do in cup competitions is a bonus. Of course I want to beat Arsenal. Of course I want to win the Carabao Cup. Of course I want to get through the final of the FA Cup. All of that. But and I think really that game, I think he managed that well. I think also what we need to be very careful of, and as football fans we do this, the next game is the most important one.
Yeah.
Arsenal Wednesday is the most important one. Then that becomes Brentford. Then that's how this works. And I think right now, he's got himself in a nice position, got past Charlton comfortably. Now we move on, as he said, to a small game when he was being quite facetious, of course.
But the qualifier for the Champions League, I get it because it's the Champions League, but what does it do? People talk about the revenue and players that we can attract. We've got a clear model where we're not going to try and attract those top players in the world anyway. Yeah. We're not going to try and attract the best players in the world who are over the age of 23. And so qualifying for the Champions League, yeah, it's great for revenue. So I've got a front of shirt sponsor. It's great for the owners. What does it do for us as fans? Are we going to win the Champions League right now? Are we in the moment to win it? Will we get better players because of it? So, like, for me, I'd rather have the memories and the muscle memory of continuing to win trophies than qualifying for the Champions League again, which I don't know what that does for us as a football club. I don't know if being out the Champions League, was that a big problem for Aston Villa this season? They're a better side for it.
But they're not Chelsea.
Cool, but is Chelsea just being in the competition? Is that what we're striving for? Because at the moment, in terms of the current construction of the squad, I don't see us winning the competition. So being in it is nice. We get Tuesdays and Wednesdays to watch football, but I would rather win trophies. I'd rather win the FA Cup and I'd rather win the League Cup than qualify for the Champions League again.
I think financially that we are in a situation because of what's happened over the last since Roman was forced to sell the club. I think financially, we need to be very much aware of what Champions League football does for us financially, and not necessarily attracting players, keeping them. I think there's an element of that. You know, if we end up in the Conference League again, there are players in our squad that will be looking and going, I need more than I'm better than FA Cup, I'm better than Carabao Cup. I need to be playing and representing my club in the best competition. Because what that will do, not just domestically for you as a player playing on the highest stage, but also internationally. You need to be playing Champions League football. You need to be showing the England manager
levels.
Yeah, or it may well whatever national side you are. And I'm not disagreeing with Kweku because of course I want silverware.
Yeah.
But I think this season, for me, where we are right now, top four because I don't think we'll get top four. Right here, right now. I think we'll probably end up getting 5th or 6th. So we do get Champions League football. I think that puts us in a nice position. Of course, I want trophies.
We'll just have to win the Champions League again, won't we?
Well,
maybe that's our other
Who
option.
changes manager halfway through the season wins the Champions League? Whoever does that. Whoever does that. What crazy team does that?
Twice.
Twice, honestly.
Yeah.
Let us know what you think as well, actually. Would you rather win the FA Cup and Carabao Cup, say, or would you rather finish in the Champions League spots and maybe not win a trophy this season? In this Charlton game, I suppose you said it earlier, Kweku, it's hard to judge, really. It's one game, but you did see similarities between the way that Maresca liked to play. He liked to invert the fullbacks. It was Jarell Hato, who, by the way, scored an absolute worldie of a goal. What a way to score your first goal for Chelsea. We saw little similarities. Do you think that then going forward is probably how Liam is going to play? I mean, I quite liked against City. I know it was a couple of games back now, but just an overlapping fullback and Gusto just getting down the wing and putting a lovely ball in, and it was an equaliser. Is it too complicated sometimes?
Yeah, but managers are tied to their philosophy, and I don't want to disrespect that. And he's got a clear way of thinking about football. The issue that I've got with the style of play is that the briefing from the club was that he plays in the style of play that they're fond of, right, in terms of possession-based football. I always think it should go the other way. I think the manager should tell you how they want to play, and then you should bring in players to facilitate that. And I know that you can sometimes come a cropper because if the manager doesn't work out, you've bought specific players. But I think if you want to be successful, you have to build the club in the image of the manager. That's what Arsenal did. That's what
Ten Hag.
That's the other.
Kweku, football is changing. That is not the way it's going. Because if you give the manager too much power, you can leave a squad. And look at Man United now. They are still reeling, going back from signing Anthony.
Yeah.
You know, all of these players, they're a mess of football. There is, whether you can agree or disagree on the club's identity, there is a philosophy and there is a mindset about where we're going to go. And it's you fit into that model we're doing, or you don't fit. And the reason he's been brought in is that he was put in at Strasbourg. They play the same way. It's almost like not a feeder club. That's not. But it's Bluecoat and clearly they own that football club. Yeah. And you've seen the likes of Santos go out there on loan. There's other players that have gone out on loan. You know, Penders is out there right now. The reason he's been brought in is because that philosophy works with this model. So it's come a bit early. My guess is, I think probably he would have been. My understanding is that he was told at some stage. He will be offered that Chelsea job. It's come around too soon, for anyone really. Yeah. But he's come in, and there is a clear pathway, a clear thinking process about where the club wants to be, it might be a bit soon for him and the thought process behind why he was actually at Strasbourg in the first place.
But where I'll push back a little bit is that there is, in the Premier League, there's been 2 clubs that won the Premier League over the last 10 years. And that's been, the last 8 years, and that's been Man City and Liverpool. And Arsenal are probably going to win it this year. Those clubs have allowed the managers to build the team how they want to build the team. And they've worked in cohorts with the directors of football to build the team that they want to build. I don't know if the way the football's going is the right direction. I don't know if this model is the right thing to do. I would rather have a manager. You pick the manager. You pick him. You guys, that's your job. But back him. Back him and back the vision that they have for this team, because I feel like too many cooks spoil the broth. And when you start to hear about directors of football getting involved in footballing matters, that's when things start to come a cropper. And I do think that football's gone in the wrong direction. If I look at a Man City, and Guardiola's a different kettle of fish, I look at Liverpool, Klopp's a different kettle of fish, but I look at Arsenal and I'm like, they allowed Arteta to get rid of Aubameyang and to get rid of Ozil and to build a squad in his image. And so I take your point, Jason, in terms of football's going in a different direction, and the players at Strasbourg, the connection with Strasbourg makes sense, but I'm just not too sure if this model works, Jace.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Guardiola.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
I mean,
I know.
You know, I mean,
Different level of...
Arteta is the only one that I can look at and say, yes, the club have gone with him, and there looks like they're eventually finally going to get to that point. The squad has been built in his mould.
Yeah.
They ain't won anything yet. Do you know? I mean, they're on the cusp, and they're a damn good side. But it's taken a long time to get to this.
7 years.
Right.
That's a very good
point. Listen, he's a good manager, and they're a damn good side, and they're the best side in the country, and I think they will go on and win it, and they're probably going to win many more because that squad's young enough to do that. But this model is set out, and if you're not on board, people say he's a yes man, right? There ain't many managers out there that ain't yes men. You know, you can go to Aston Villa, Arsenal, maybe Liverpool. Those managers, City. Other than that, Glasner's come out and criticised the ownership. Yeah. You know, you will get managers that I mean, look what happened with Nuno Espirito Santo. With, you know, there aren't many that have to. You've got to tell them, here's what we want. You know, we've all been told what to do, or not to say, but here's your job. Go and do it.
Yeah.
And that's who we are right now as a football club.
Do you know, I saw a really interesting clip of Liam when he was a pundit on Sky Sports, and he was talking about being a manager, and he was talking about, you know, having the amount of players you buy, or quantity like over quality, and that's obviously not the way to go. And now he's coming into a Chelsea squad where it does feel like these owners did pick quantity over quality at times and are going for young, inexperienced. So it was interesting to hear him say that, but now coming into a job that is almost complete opposite of what he was saying.
What I will say as well, in terms of people criticise that, is that under Roman, it was different to this in terms of we were buying young players and we were sending them out to Vitesse. Like, we were,
but we were buying, like, the best as well.
We were buying the best as well, and it was a different model, though. FFP didn't exist and PSR didn't exist, so we could go and buy Shevchenko and it not work and it be fine.
Yeah.
So, like, we have got a history of having a really bloated squad and players out on loan here, there and everywhere. But we were winning trophies, and that's the difference. And if, for example, and football is a result-dependent business, and I am critical of the board, and I have got issues with the board, but I'm also aware of the fact that if Maresca maybe didn't rest Reece against Leeds, and I know that he probably had to because Caicedo was injured, but that week, if he had beaten Leeds and beaten Bournemouth, we're having a different conversation right now. And we're still buoyed by the fact that we drew against Arsenal. We're still talking about title race. So we can talk about the board and how much we think, or I think they haven't served the squad well, but also it's about the results on the pitch, and we haven't been good enough in that aspect either.
Well, I actually do think that we will probably hear Maresca's side of the story at one point, and I wonder how different it will be from what we currently know in terms of the situation, whether he did walk, whether he got sacked, whether it was mutual. What did you make of all the, you know, the sort of comments about maybe him not having a choice in who to play and who to rest and who to give minutes to? And
yeah, I mean,
do you sort of believe any of that? Do you believe that it maybe wasn't all his decision? Because I'm not going to lie, when he took off Cole Palmer, I know Cole Palmer hasn't been at the levels that we've seen from Cole Palmer. Do I want him on the pitch if Chelsea need a goal? Yes. Do I want anyone else more on the... No. I don't want a single other player on the pitch more than I want Cole Palmer on the pitch if Chelsea need a goal. He took him off against Bournemouth when we needed a goal. I think we were drawing, weren't we? I was surprised at that. And I understand he's obviously had fitness issues, but what are your thoughts
I think there's a bit of a blame game going on. And I think what the messages we're hearing from the club and the kind of messages we're hearing, indirectly from both, I think probably somewhere in the middle is going to be the truth. We may never find out exactly the truth on both sides. But look, the fitness one is so interesting because we are a football club, as a lot of clubs have been. We're a football club that suffer with major injuries to major players. Yeah. Reece is the main one, right? Yeah. Lavia's been out. Yeah. Colwell is out. Yeah. Liam Delap has been out. Palmer's been out, right? And I actually don't think there is anything wrong with the medical team saying to the manager, here's how many minutes I think we think you should play. Now, how it's set in stone that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
But what if he did stay on another 10 minutes and his groin goes again, his hammy goes? What if that? Reece, I mean, look, I'm so glad that we can look at Reece now and he can play 2-3 games in a week. Maybe not every single week, back to back to back to back. But I'm looking at Reece. Lavia, I just want to see Lavia on the pitch. I want to see him.
Where is Romeo Lavia? Can someone explain?
These are such important players that if the medical advice is he can only have an hour, or you should only play him for 45 minutes. I've seen him do this actually. Brentford away. Remember who did he play? I can't remember. He bought us. Was it Fofana? Another one. Fofana's been in. Look, I want to go into the back end of this season with every single one of those players available and fit. Because let me tell you now, that will be a very different looking Chelsea side if every player is fit and Liam has got to choose from all of those. Be a totally different looking team.
We haven't really spoken about it a lot, how many players Chelsea have missed at one time. I feel like we talk about it when it's other teams, but to lose, like Jay says, all of those players at one point is really hard. And obviously it hasn't helped that Moises Caicedo's been suspended every other game as well.
Yeah, it's... with injuries, it's a funny one. I don't ever want to lean on it because everyone gets injuries. Yeah. And also, if we're being honest, it's the byproduct of being world champions. It just is. We had a way longer season than everybody else. And so these injuries were bound to happen. Yeah. And I think Levi Colwell's injury is a direct result of
But then shouldn't that squad be managed different to any other team?
Yeah. And that's why I agree with you. People have an issue like the medical professionals getting involved in terms of minutes, that's nonsense. Like, they need to get involved. They know when players are redlining, they know when players are in the red. Like, you need to manage those players. The only issue is if other people, apart from medics, are getting involved, if it's directors of football or other people. But we don't know that. That's just hearsay and rumours. In terms of Maresca, I agree with you. Scorn lovers, right? I've had ex-girlfriends talk rubbish about me, and that's because we're not going
I don't even want to go there, Kweku. That's all right, mate.
Let's move on. But, it's scorn lovers. And I think from Maresca, just show a little bit of class. Don't have to reveal all. Like, we won a couple of trophies with us. It was a good time. We gave you an opportunity when you weren't a top-level manager. Yeah. You don't need to come and do an expose. We've moved on. You can move on.
I sort of want it.
Nah.
I quite like the job.
It won't be good for us, though. It won't be good for us as Chelsea fans. Do you
not reckon? Well, why not? Because I don't think Chelsea fans will want to hear what Maresca's got to say. Because I would love to know for his side of the story what actually happened.
So fans going to protest, right? Is it January 17th? Fans going to protest?
The Brentford game.
Yeah. But these lot are here for the long haul. Like, these guys they're not going to sell the club, and so.
What can you do?
What can you do? So finding this information out is only going to harm us. Like, I think some things are best left unsaid.
If there is one thing that Liam Rosenior can come in and do and make, I think, a small thing that can make such a big impact, is sort our discipline out. Because every single week it feels like we're missing an important player. And injuries are one thing. Injuries sometimes you can't prevent that. One thing you can prevent are red cards. And it drives me insane. First, Callum McFarlane was there, Man City away. Liam Delap, first thing he does, he bundles someone and picks up a yellow card, right? I understand he wants to impress. I understand there's aggression to his game that he needs to harness, because I want to keep that part of him, because that's part of what makes him the centre forward he is. Can't give yellow cards away for stupid things, kicking balls away, speaking to the referee. Those things drive me insane. Sort that out and you'll make your job a lot easier to pick from a squad. You've got your best players available.
Yeah, I mean, the Cucurella one, I think, was just silly and stupid, and it was a red card. He was lucky it wasn't a penalty as well. But what annoyed me most wasn't that, it was the 3 yellow cards we picked up after.
Oh, nonsense.
Tosin, Enzo and Cole Palmer.
Right, there you go. That's it. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Liv.
The decision-making, right, I understand. In the heat of the moment, Cucurella's done a madness, he got sent off, right? I understand that happens. Like, I don't mind that as such. I do think sometimes decision-making can be better in those moments. But that annoyed me more, the 3 yellow cards after. Because then, I know obviously, luckily we've gone past the threshold now, but like Caicedo, he missed the game the other day, he misses Arsenal as well.
Yeah.
Like, how many games has Caicedo missed through suspension?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Well, and this, I don't mind you picking up a booking for a tactical foul. That's just part of the game.
Yeah.
But picking up bookings for pushing someone over the hoardings or just arguing with referees, like, come on, boys. And that, you said it to me in the office, Jason. I was like, that's a great point. That's one thing you can do, and it can be a marked improvement. We can see where we're at.
I think that's easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
I think that's an easy thing. So our discipline record under Maresca is nothing short of a disgrace.
Yeah.
You know, truly, get that right, improve that even by half. I know they're young, and young players will make mistakes, and people will make mistakes. But Maresca's discipline record was appalling. And you want your best players to choose from. It makes your life going to make his job easier.
I mean, Caicedo is a perfect example, actually, because albeit, you know, he got suspended for the game against City, that was never a yellow card, not even a foul, really, in the Bournemouth game. So that meant he missed City. But he got booked against Cardiff for clapping the referee for a foul that he didn't even make. Right. Someone else gave away a free kick and he clapped the referee, and now he's suspended for... Yeah. So that is one thing, I think, a big thing. And actually, Liam spoke about it, didn't he?
It seems to be gone unaddressed.
Yeah.
Under Maresca. Nothing improved.
He sort of just found it like almost like funny a bit, and was
but
just
nothing
a bit
ever improved. It was every week.
It was every.
Going back to last season, Jackson away at Newcastle, the Club World Cup, Caicedo, Jackson. It's like we have become a liability. Yeah. Sort that out, and you watch the difference in the team selection that Liam Rosenior will have to choose from.
Yeah, I mean it's been an absolute madness. I think Matisse is still growing his hair. Remember, he said he was going to grow his beard or something until Chelsea don't go 5 games without a red card. I don't know if we've actually done that yet. I don't actually know if we've gone 5 games without a red card. Yeah, the next time you see Matisse...
He's cut his beard. He's gone for the Rosenior look.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. If you haven't seen, I mean, you will have seen. I watched, a clip popped up on my TikTok of him live streaming the game, and he had LR on his shirt. That's absolutely hilarious. Let's bring it back round to Liam then. And obviously that's one thing he does need to sort out. It does feel like, I mean, it's so hard to judge Jace after 1 game, and he's been at the club for about 3 days. Yep. But it does feel like the players have taken to him and you know, responded positive. No?
We don't know yet. We don't know.
Face is saying
we
no.
do not know yet. The one thing he's got in his favour is he's young, so he can relate to these players. And that is a huge part of modern football, where you can't really dig into players as much as you could back in the day. You have to find common ground with them and relate with them, and he can do that. And he's a great talker. I think I want to see the real Liam Rosenior. I want to see who he actually is.
I think we will see that when Chelsea start losing games.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? I don't know. I just
sure.
feel like obviously it's gone well. You know, he's the manager of Chelsea Football Club, which I'm sure he didn't expect at this time in his career. Yeah. It's all positive. He's just come off the back of a 5-1 win. But I think we may get, when we start losing, which I know we will probably lose a couple of games, I think maybe we'll then see.
Yeah, well, that's what I want to see. Like, be your own man. Because at the moment, I don't know him, and I don't... Yeah, I hope he does really well for various reasons. But I feel like he's kind of cosplaying what he thinks a top-level manager should be. And I just want you to just... Be yourself and be you. And by all accounts, we've talked to people who watch French football, he's a great communicator, he's a great motivator, and the football's decent that Strasbourg played as well. So I think he's got the tools to be a top manager, but at this level, you need to be a little bit nasty. You do need to be a little bit nasty. Not say that you're nasty, and not tell people that you're nasty, you're a bit crazy, but be nasty. You think about Pep Guardiola or Mikel Arteta, or even Jurgen Klopp, they had that edge. And I want to see... we'll see it over time, but I want to see a bit more of an edge. And you don't need to shake every journo's hand. You don't need to do that. You don't. You actually don't. No one's going to slag you off for not doing it. Just sit down and assert your authority and let them know that you're there.
What do you mean by cosplaying what you think? So you think Liam is sort of trying to put across what everyone wants him to be?
What he thinks a top-level manager should do or say. So, for example, in the... I feel harsh saying this. In the press conference, he talked about being arrogant, or I was just like, that word doesn't need to come out of your mouth in a press conference at Chelsea, because we know what that invokes. That makes you think about Jose Mourinho 2004. Don't need that comparison. Just be your own man, and maybe this is him. But I just get a sense that he's trying to play a part rather than just doing his job. And it will come over time. He's young. But he's a manager that, if it does go right, I think Chelsea fans will fall in love with him. I think he's got the ability to make you feel like it's us against them, us against the world. And that's what the best Chelsea managers have done. Whether it's Conte, Tuchel, Mourinho, they make you feel like it's Chelsea against everybody.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen about from him in France, he's got the ability to do that. But just take a breath, be yourself.
I'm going to go back to Potter, because, you know...
Do we have to?
Well, I'm just going back to kind of looking at him and how I felt that the press conferences was something that he didn't enjoy, didn't look comfortable. And Liam Rosenior's gone in there, and there may well be a little bit of a swagger that, you know, hasn't quite backed it up yet with trophies or anything like that. Football will never change. It's about results.
Yeah.
It's about results. Give the results, and everything else should fit in play. Give performances and results, things get better. You know, we'll find out over this next month, because of all competitions we've got, some huge games, massive games coming up for us. By the end of this month, we'll have a clearer picture, or certainly an idea about who he is as a manager, who he is as a person, and what and the little things that he does in press conferences, both before and after games. And quite excited about it.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, and I think the fans... I got slated, right, Jace, the other day. You messaged me because I basically said, just on the protest, I said that I don't believe that fans can do much, right? Like you said, the owners are here to stay. They're not going to sell up. So you're not going to stop going to games, realistically. I don't think there's anything that fans can do that will change anything, right? I don't believe.
I think on that, the impact, you never quite know. The impact that the fans will have, you never quite know how much they're going to listen. I think it's important fans do have a voice, because we are the lifeblood of that football club.
Yeah.
How much the owners will listen, depending on what football club.
Egbali doesn't care.
Well, we don't. Well, you'd like to think there is someone up at the football club, Egbali, Bowley, at that level, Winstanley, Stewart, whoever it might be, has an ear. And because they're not stupid, they'll hear the fans generally. There is certainly a feeling amongst the fans that there is scepticism about where this club's going. And I kind of get it. It's been a lot of managerial changes. Yeah. It's been so much money spent. I think what the fans want to do is just be heard. I think that is a step. And it's going to be a peaceful process from what I know. Yeah. I saw Liverpool when they raised their season ticket prices 3 or 4 years ago. The fans protested, the club listened, and they didn't increase them. So sometimes you do get heard.
I think I think that's different though, because I feel like, the club can listen to that, but the club are protesting. They want they want the owners out. They want the sporting directors out. Or they want them to answer.
But this is where I'm a little bit torn on it, because what is it that you're protesting? Because if I was to canvass a poll and ask these same fans that are going to protest on January the 17th how you felt about this ownership group and would you protest after the Arsenal game, I think you'd have less than half the people who are going to protest post going on a bad run. And I think that football is a results-dependent business. And when you're not playing well, people feel a certain type of way. But going into that Arsenal game, and even after that Arsenal game, oh my goodness, fan sentiment was at an absolute high. You couldn't get 15 people to go on. Maybe it's an exaggeration. But you
end of November, no protest.
No protest. And
but it's amazing what can happen in a month.
Exactly. And we know what happens in December to Chelsea. So, of course there's protests in Chelsea in January because we're terrible. But that's where I just want to kind of be careful in terms of... I agree. I don't love everything that's happened in the football club, and I wish these owners would go about it a different way. Yeah. But we've seen it at different football clubs. FSG out was a thing. Glazers out was a thing during the Fergie era. Kroenke out.
Ratcliffe now is out. Is a thing. There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
and we all want the best for our football club, and I think that the protests just perhaps they want a little bit more information. Communication may be something that they're after. Have a little bit of clearer idea about what the club looks like going forward. Yeah. Look, we're a football club that has had high standards for the last 20, 25 years, you know? Yeah. And those standards... We've been spoilt as well, by the way. Yeah. You know, we have been spoilt.
Yeah. That's one thing I was going to say was, like we saying about the protest, and I don't believe that fans shouldn't do it. That wasn't my point. I just was like, I'm not sure it's going to have the desired effect that they want. But one thing I did like was this was my point, is that you can have an issue with the ownership and the way the club is going, but you've also, I think, got to back the manager. That was my point. And actually, I think
100%.
fans made their voices very clear at the Fulham game and at the Charlton game. You know, Liam probably wouldn't have enjoyed listening to the chants that were directed not at him, but obviously sat next to Bedadig Barley. But they got behind him, and that was my only worry, was that are you not going to get behind the manager because you don't agree with the appointment?
No, it's Liam Rosenior's come here. He's manager of my football club, and I will absolutely back him, 100%. This is a tough gig, and it's tougher now maybe, and it's different now than it was 25 years ago, 30 years. It's a totally different football club now. He gets my backing, and I'll support him. And I will also criticise if I feel things have gone wrong, tactically on the pitch, team selection. That's what we do here. If we think things are wrong, we've said that many times. But he needs the fans.
Yeah.
He needs to know the fans, especially against Arsenal on Wednesday night. He needs to know the fans are in his corner and we're shouting, screaming, biting, kicking for him.
Yeah, 100%. And he will get that, because Chelsea fans are loyal, and until you give them a reason, otherwise they will back the manager. It's just football. It's just results. Like, we beat Barcelona 3-0, and people were saying this model's working. Look at the top quality players we've got. We lose a few games, and all of a sudden the model's not working. It's football.
Fickle.
It's fickle, and don't get it twisted. I think this ownership group could just throw the fans a bone. If you just went out and got a centre back that was over the age of 23, and you went and got
like, if you went and got a Mark Gay,
if you went and got a Mark Gay and an Osimhen, we would all shut up.
Yeah.
We would all be like, OK, cool. Yeah. And so they don't help themselves either in terms of this model. Does it work in terms of winning the biggest trophies? And I think there will be a slight shift maybe of the model. But like, no fan. We were lucky, and again, we don't have to get into details of it. We were the only fans of a top football club that loved our owner. We used to sing Roman Abramovich's name.
We still do.
We still do. That doesn't happen at any other football club.
Yeah.
Like, Man United hate their owners, Arsenal hate their owners, Liverpool hate their owners. We loved our owner, and so for us, it's uncertain ground we're on right now. We've never been here before, or for a long time, where we don't love the ownership group, and we're trying to figure out how to deal with it. We will come out the other side, and I do expect us to start winning major trophies again, because football's cyclical, and also we've got some of the best players in the world. Cole Palmer's one of the best players in the world. So is Caicedo. So is Cucurella. So is Esteval. Like, we'll be fine, but I can understand the frustration from a group of the fans.
On talkSPORT Goals, Kweku, you said that it was the wrong decision to bring in Liam Rosenior.
Yeah.
Do you still think that?
Yeah, because it was ultimately the wrong decision to sack Enzo Maresca, and he had to go because of. You can't come out.
I think he walked.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was.
I think there was a little bit of like, no one. You want to leave? Yeah, okay. Go on in.
Yeah. Like, I'm saying he's saying I'm going, and they go cool.
Yeah, I think that's my understanding of the situation.
I think it was a mistake to not rectify that situation and keep him with the football club. We're already on this path. He is what Rosenior was last year. We took a punt on a manager that was in the Championship before. He showed us that he can be a Premier League manager. That's hard to do. They got that point. They smashed that appointment. They nailed it. He was better than Poch. He won us a trophy, got us in the top four, won us 2 trophies. So they nailed it. And so not to see that through is a mistake, because we're already on that path. The players are already bought in. The fans, what Maresca did really cleverly is that he started playing the PR battle from the beginning of the season. And we weren't all the biggest Maresca fans in terms of he doesn't give you too much, but then he started to give you a bit more. And he's run down the touchline when we score goals.
Yeah.
We didn't just do it against Liverpool, we did it in the Club World Cup as well against Benfica.
Yeah.
Like, he started to give us a bit more. And then he also started to be a bit more vocal. And so by the time it got to the point where they were going to part ways, we were all on Team Maresca, where that wasn't the case at the beginning of the season. And so I think it was a mistake. The reason why I say it's a mistake to bring in Rosenior is because it was a mistake to get rid of Maresca. And so it's not an indictment on Rosenior. He might come in and be great, but we were already on this path with Maresca and looked like we were going in the right direction.
Do we just have to accept, Jace, that this isn't the Chelsea of old, and it's now a completely different club with completely different ideas and aspirations, and the way that they view football is so different to what we're used to.
What's the reality?
But
it's the reality.
Do you think their primary, what's the word?
Aim?
Yeah, from this is to win trophies and to be successful? Because when I look at what they've done, obviously winning those 2 trophies was brilliant in the summer and we loved them, but the way I look at it is like buying young players just so they can be sold on for a profit. That feels like what they're doing more rather than actually building a squad, because I think we are now further away from competing with City and Liverpool. So I feel like we've gone backwards again a little bit.
The first 3 signings under the new ownership was Koulibaly, Aubameyang and Raheem Sterling.
Yeah.
Vastly experienced players.
Yeah.
Huge wages.
Yeah.
No residual value,
yeah.
right? So you're buying these players. So whatever you're going to spend on these players, 50 million for Sterling, you're not going to get any of that money back, right? When the owners came in, they were shocked that Rudiger and Christensen left on a free.
Yeah.
They couldn't quite believe they came in, a football club, that you were losing over £100 million worth of centre-half between the two. Well over £100 million worth of centre-half, right? Sure. That walked. They couldn't get their head around that. That was something that really showed. So the first transfer policy was to bring in more experienced players. Then there was a shift, and that shift was dramatic. My understanding is that Bowley oversaw those signings.
Yeah.
Then there's a new. Then they went the younger route, buying potential. There's a certain age, there's a demographic they want to be. Young, exciting players that the potential is yet to be reached. And we've seen signs of that. £100 million for Casado, huge money, right? Whatever you think of the price tag, you can see that player there is now starting to look like the player that we are. Enzo Fernandez, still waiting to see that £100 million player. Cucurella, all right, that came in before, but he fits that demographic. Palmer. Yeah, there are lots. So in terms of what do I think the club's going to look like in the next 2 or 3 years, the flipping Donamedeweke, we had Esteval. So Esteval has come in. If you feel as though there's no space for him, move him on. Then I think Chelsea fans will go, well, the Gittins sign and the Garnacho sign. Does that work? I hear that, and we're still waiting to see. But not Chelsea fans rated Noni, by the way, which I found quite surprising.
No, because the thing with Noni is though.
Hindsight. Noni's a hindsight thing. Chelsea fans are like, oh my God, I can't believe we let him go. Chelsea fans weren't crying when we sold him. They weren't. They were like, that's fine. We just won the Club World Cup.
It's because he's a good player, Noni, but he doesn't give you enough as a winger. Like, he's got, 1 goal for Arsenal? Or, like, he's one of those that's so frustrating to watch. But then equally, I think if you're asking me now, I would rather have just kept Noni and played him on the left instead of bringing Garnacho in.
Well, that's the one that sticks in the craw of Chelsea fans. It's like, I get Gittins and I get Garnacho, not both. And they might turn out to be great players. I don't think Garnacho technically is on the level to play at the highest level, but there's just a few baffling transfers, and you look at some of the players that will never play for the football club, and you look at some players that have come through the doors. Like, I think it's some of the names like David Washington, and I know Dario Sugo's injured, or Renato Vega. It's like, what was the purpose? What was the purpose of those signs? Were they made for footballing decisions? Were they made for footballing reasons? And that's the issue that Chelsea fans have got. And people talk about a pyramid scheme for buying and selling players. I don't. But can
I just say though, right? You go back 10 years ago, we were doing the same thing. I mean, they're all going to Vitesse. Right? They're all going. We're like a salmon farm. Bringing in these young players, and we're also bringing
the best.
Yes, we were. Yeah. So it was a combination of both. At the moment, it does feel as though I would. If you ask me now, I totally agree with Kweku. I want to see a centre forward and a centre half of quality and experience. Those players will demand huge fees and huge salaries. And that's not quite who we are at the moment. Somebody's got to shift. And there's no sign or evidence to suggest to me that shift is anytime soon.
Do you agree with that?
I want to see a centre forward with experience. Look, we saw what Jackson looked like in
I'd bring him back, by the way. I'd bring him back.
No, but
I'd bring Nicholas Jackson
back.
There
is also that thought of like, we are such a young and naive team at times. Jackson showed such good things, and then he would let himself down and gets Liam Dillap. You can see what the boy's got. I see him at Ipswich. I want to see him harness that what he's got, but I want to see also players develop. I said this many times. John Terry had Leboeuf and Desailly when he was coming through the ranks, right? Levi Colwill doesn't have that.
He had Thiago Silva for a little bit, and then obviously...
Yeah, and we won the Champions League with him. Yeah. I would like to see, I think the squad, in terms of balance, is too young. But in 3-4 years' time, we might not be saying that.
Yeah. Well, no, we won't be saying that, because then they won't be young.
Right, so what I'm saying, unless we continue moving players on and...
But that's the thing. In 3 years' time, Jace, will half of these players still be at the club?
Just don't know.
Because they might have then been sold.
Liv,
they will be at the club.
Liv, just don't know.
The Palmer thing, I've said this before on this show, we've got to be very, very careful, because that player is one of the best in the Premier League, and he will not accept playing Europa League, Conference League football for any longer than he has to. That should have been the last time, last season, we should be anywhere near the Conference League.
I understand that, Liv, but like...
Someone's going to have to pay 150 million for him.
Well, that's it. And football's changed. No one's paying 150 million pounds for players anymore. And Cole Palmer's, he signed a contract extension. His contract runs until
2080.
Until we're all going to have grey hairs. Like, it's a difficult situation that some of those players are in if they did want to make a move. But I'm with Jace. I want to see... Remember the transfer window from the 14-15 season? The best transfer window I've ever seen our club have. We brought Courtois back from loan from Atletico. We brought in Felipe Luis, who was a great left-back, but ended up being pushed out by Aspilicueta. Fabregas.
Yeah.
And Diego
Costa.
Yeah. And that was a window that signified our intent. And that was a window that won us the league. If we went and brought in... I think Penders was going to come back and be a number one. We went and brought in a Mark Guehi, and we went and brought in a Osimhen. All of a sudden, this looks so different. Yeah. It looks like a team that can win the league. And that's the problem I have with the model. I get it, but sometimes football is not that complicated. Go and address the issues that you've got and you can go and win the biggest trophies.
Yeah, I think there should be exceptions for certain players. Like Donnarumma, not him, but a goalkeeper of that stature.
Mark Guehi's the one at the moment.
Yeah, he's the
one. He's on everyone's looking at him.
He'll go. The problem is that
he's going to demand, his salary's going to be huge.
But also, like back in the day, Chelsea were like one of probably the most attractive club at one point to come and play, and they would have picked Chelsea over, like Hazard picking Chelsea over Man United. Yeah. Like that wouldn't, like maybe not Man United. That's not a good example, but like, are you telling me that they're going to pick Chelsea over City?
Casado did.
They still do.
Casado did. Lavia did.
Yeah, Enzo Fernandez did. Like Mudryk ended up. I know it's a different story, but these players still picking Chelsea.
There is still wiggle room there.
Yeah.
But I don't think we're quite that. We're not Man United yet.
No. Yeah.
Not yet.
No.
Being in London helps.
Yeah. Everyone loves living in London. Right, we have our game against Arsenal coming up on Wednesday. And, this was a Chelsea that get up for the big games. And we never really had any issues playing against the biggest and best sides, Jace. But obviously under Liam, we don't know how it's going to go. But if it's similar to Maresca, then we've always got a chance in these games, don't we?
We have gone toe-to-toe with all the big heads. I've been really impressed with how we stood up to the teams like PSG, Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal. The Man City one, even that, I felt we left a good account of ourselves, certainly second half.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason why we can't go toe-to-toe. The problem, I feel we need to take a lead there.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Going there, I think Arsenal will probably take a draw.
How many goals have we conceded against Arsenal at the Emirates? Was it 5 last
that was
season?
Let's not talk about that, Liv. Let's park that one, I think. Yeah, that's not where I want to go. We didn't.
Sorry to put it down. But yeah, your point is right. We basically have to win on Wednesday.
I don't think we're taking the 5-goal lead there. But I genuinely feel we're good enough to get a victory against them.
Yeah.
I genuinely feel we're good enough
to...
Look, well, I was really interested to see what he was thinking, Liam, at the weekend and the changes that he made. I just saw he brought on Neto. Esteval he brought on as well. And Santos started in there. And I wonder, Reece didn't play. I'm fascinated to see who goes in that middle of the park.
I think it'll be
What does he do? Does he... Yeah, I don't quite know. Will Reece play in there?
I think so.
Or will Reece go right back, looking after Martinelli, who's scored a hatful of goals at the moment? There's so many little permutations of what he can do. We are yet to see the best team that Liam Rosenior is going to pick in a big game. And we get to see it on Wednesday night.
But this is the issue, right? Obviously, if we say he goes with Reece and Andre Santos, and then you've got Enzo as the 10, you can't play Palmer and Esteval.
Well, that's a question I've had in my head for the longest time. I'm like...
How does it work?
We've been talking about this all season, by the way.
How does it work? How does it work? Because if you're saying now that Reece isn't the right back, which, OK, whatever, but you're saying centre midfielder, I think Enzo's come on leaps and bounds. But
he has to play in the 10.
He can't play deep. He has to play in the 10. He's not yet that metronomic dictator of tempo that we need him to be. So he has to play further forward. But his best position is the same position that Palmer wants to occupy. And Palmer, if you move him out to the right-hand side, it means that we can't play Esteval. So
we can play Reece at right back. Enzo sent alongside
Yeah.
Alongside Santos.
Saying he's just way less effective.
But then Reece can come inside. I've seen Reece do that a lot.
Yeah.
Reece can then come inside and be the extra midfielder. Enzo goes up to join Cole. Estevan on the right, Pedro Neto on the left.
Yeah, could
That's the only way you can squeeze all those players in the same team.
We beat Arsenal, by the way. We go through to the final. I'm sure.
I hope you're right.
Thank you.
And I hope we do. And I think it's about time we beat Arsenal. We've put in so many good performances against them recently to not come away with a win.
Yep.
Maybe this is the time. Right, that is it for another episode of Inside Chelsea. We'll be back next Monday after, hopefully, a couple of wins against both Arsenal and Brentford. Thank you very much for your company. And, of course, thank you to these two, Jace and Kweku. We will see you next week. Up the Chelsea.
Up the Chelsea.